Suppliers must develop and implement a communication and engagement plan which sets out how the supplier manufacturer will contact, communicate with and engage with consumers to maximise replacement rates. These have been submitted to the ACCC, and the ACCC is in the final stages of assessing these plans. An important requirement for any communication engagement plan, which I'll sometimes call a CEP, that's what I'm referring to if I use that term. An important requirement for any CEP is that the supplier must use really clear, simple language to emphasise the risk of injury or death that arises from affected Takata airbag inflators. And you'll see there an example of a clear and simple message to a consumer with a vehicle containing an alpha inflator. You see there, stop driving your vehicle immediately. Your vehicle's airbag is faulty and it could kill or seriously injure you and other people in your vehicle. So a problem that with the voluntary recall is that sometimes the risk was downplayed. So the recall notice mandates the type of language that needs to be used when communicating with consumers. If you're a dealer, no doubt you'll be hearing directly from some consumers who receive these types of communications. But to the extent possible, the ACCC will require the supplier to implement a centralised booking system and then communicate these arrangements to its dealer network. It's important to emphasise that the more efficient the approach that the OEM takes to the recall, so by setting up things like centralised booking systems, the easier it is on them to implement the recall and comply with those obligations that I spoke of just before. There's often some concern around the loan or hire car obligations in the recall notice, so I think it's important to sort of address these. Where a supplier or manufacturer replaces an affected Takata airbag inflator, the manufacturer must bear the cost of the replacement, and that includes any necessary transportation cost the consumer incurs. The reason that loan hire car obligations have been included in the notice is because it's vitally important that consumers are not deterred from participating in the recall. So if the vehicle has an alpha inflator, then the recall notice requires the supplier to offer to arrange for the vehicle to be towed to the place of replacement, or for a qualified technician to travel to the vehicle, or some similar arrangement so that the consumer need not drive the vehicle. It really is crucial that consumers do not drive these vehicles if they don't want to. For all other affected vehicles, if the replacement process will deprive the consumer of the use of their vehicle for more than 24 hours, following the time that the car is taken to the place of replacement, then, and only then, at the consumer's request, the supplier must provide the consumer with a loan or hire car, or offer to find or provide alternative transportation which is reasonable in the circumstances. And that's for the duration of the replacement process. But I want to note here that if a replacement is taking more than 24 hours, this is probably a sign that the manufacturer has failed to appropriately plan its recall initiation schedule. Remember I said that this recall notice provides the suppliers with a great deal of flexibility in how they plan those recall initiation schedules. We don't want them turning vehicles to active unless they're in a position to very quickly perform the replacement. So, and from speaking with now having spoken with a number of industry participants, the time it takes to conduct one of these replacements is nowhere near 24 hours. So